My American story is, I guess, the real story of the American dream. Back in 2004, when I was in Milano, I sent one rainy afternoon, I sent an email to one of the biggest art directors in the history of the New York Times. And I was super surprised because after like 20 minutes, a new email came and it was from him. And after 2 hours since my first email, I got my first New York Times job. It was unbelievable to think that I was no one. I mean, I wasn't known in the United States market, but that guy gave me a chance. That's the most important thing. That's what for me represents United States.
I grew up with many American influences, and at some point in my career, I decided that I really wanted to come and see New York for the first time. And so I took a plane and I got here, and I only had a few images in my portfolio. I went straight to the New York Times and I had an appointment there. I showed my portfolio, and after a few weeks we started working together.
Here tonight we have a selection of the last 5 years of illustrations done for the American market. So we are going to find here images done for the New York Times, the New Yorker, the posters for the theater.
In Italy, the market is different for sure. The illustrators are a small community, while here there's a huge community of illustrators, and many of the art directors are illustrators, so they know each other a lot better. But I find both worlds very interesting. Italy or Europe in general sometimes leave me more freedom. America gives me more security. They pay very well, they pay fast, so it's a different way of working.
Everyone who approaches a job that has an audience wants to communicate his inner world to the others. And I am lucky because I have the tools to communicate my inner world through my products. I took what I needed from others that were good in doing what they did. So for example, Edward Hopper, for example, David Hockney, Alex Katz, but Michelangelo, Giotto too. So for example, the image that we can see here, I'm very connected with this image for two reasons. The first reason is that I can see the influence of that David Hockney tools, but it's also mine now. So it means that I processed everything, and what you can see is my version of those reflections.
This work started in a very simple way because I was asked by MTA to create a piece inspired by the city of New York, and I decided to create the story of this lady which in my mind comes from Harlem, and she decided to take a walk to the Statue of Liberty. So she walks downtown, and she gets there when the sun is going down, so there's sort of this like orange sunset atmosphere to it, and the city is reflected in her sunglasses, and this is basically the story behind the piece.
I think that what happens when I approach to design a new job, I have to arrive to the real core of the message, because what is required me to do is to convey a message with my own word that go along with the text. In the commercial illustrations are not designed to live without words, but growing in the profession, you learn how to move a little bit far from doing a good homework and try to do a piece of art.
When I get a commission, usually I have to create a work that's connected to a text. I particularly like to create a piece that has also my signature on it. So I really find interesting to find my own way inside the text, because I prefer to create images that work together with the text, but also could work alone.
The journey of the penguin started with an idea I have had like 2.5 years ago, to depict the chronicle of this bird journey from Antarctica to London, Westminster, to take part of this audition to become the new logo of this brand new publishing house. So I just visited Paul Buckley, that is the executive creative director of the Penguin books. He contacted Patrick Nolan, the editor in Kiev, and they said, yes, let's do this project. I accomplished the book in 1.5 months, and it was a great project because they respected my choices at 100%. So they really treated me like an author.
We were so lucky to work with Italy, and they asked us to create an illustration for their menu, which is going to come out in a few weeks. And the theme of their selection for that specific month is the Alps. And so I created a landscape of my favorite part of the Alps, which is the Dolomiti. And I gave it like a sort of a pop finish to it. The installation in the room is one piece of 6 pieces that I exhibited in Milan. I started from a digital illustration exactly like this one, and together with the Fab Lab, we decided to give these pieces a life. My influences come from all sorts of things. I like to collect different things and then get inspired by them. So naturally, I'm inspired by art and the avant-gardes from Europe, pop art, naturally. I'm inspired by both European, Italian art and American. But I'm also very inspired by fashion or music as well. The Beatles are my favorite band, so I think they describe very well this sort of like attention to the aesthetic and the ability of changing through time, but telling always an interesting story.
I have guessed 3 main suggestions for a young guy who would like to approach to this job. The first one is not to have a plan B. The second one is don't follow trends. The third suggestion is probably never give up, because what we can do is just evolving and try to improve our style and approach this job with rationality, not just with like listen to our feeling or to what our belly is saying to us, but try to understand clearly what is not working and build a new strategy.
When I arrived in New York, I understand from the beginning that American people love Italian culture. But which Italian culture? Because, okay, the past is well known, but there is also the contemporary Italian culture. And I think we have to explain this to the American people. Also in the case like Emiliano Ponzi or Olimpia Zagnoli, who work in New York. They are 2 of the most outstanding Italian illustrators in New York, and we start from them, but we can do also with others in the future. I want to continue this kind of things with young people and contemporary Italian artists and photographer and illustrator and so on, because it's one of the goals of the Institute, to show how many very good artists, Italian artists, are now working and not only in the past. but also in the present. And this is one of the goal of my direction here at the Italian Cultural Institute.